Have you ever wondered how a high-speed chase could change the course of American law enforcement? Today, we delve into an intriguing case that did just that. Scott v. Harris, a landmark case from 2007 that left an indelible mark on the legal landscape. The case bears the name of Deputy Timothy Scott of the Georgia County Police, and Victor Harris, a man whose decision to evade a routine traffic stop set in motion a series of events that would culminate in a Supreme Court ruling. The incident began on a seemingly ordinary night, when Harris, driving at a speed slightly above the limit, caught the attention of a patrolling officer. What should have been a routine traffic stop escalated into a high-speed chase, with Harris at the wheel of his fleeing vehicle and law enforcement on his tail. As the chase continued, the speeds increased, and so did the risks. Deputy Scott, in an attempt to end the pursuit, performed a maneuver known as a precision intervention technique, or PIT, intending to spin out Harris's car. However, the maneuver resulted in Harris losing control of his vehicle, crashing, and suffering severe injuries. Following the incident, Harris filed a lawsuit against Deputy Scott, alleging that the officer's use of force was excessive and thus in violation of his Fourth Amendment rights. The case, born out of a high-speed chase, would go on to question the very boundaries of reasonable force in law enforcement, and whether an officer's actions in the heat of a pursuit could be judged with the benefit of hindsight. The incident, the chase, the crash, and the subsequent lawsuit, this complex weaving of events set the stage for a legal battle that would reach the highest court in the land. The outcome of this case would forever change the perception of law enforcement's use of force. As we journey through this remarkable case, we'll see how a single night's events can have far-reaching consequences, shaping the very fabric of law and order in our society. Our story begins on the night of March 29, 2001, in the state of Georgia. It was a night like any other, until Deputy Timothy Scott attempted to pull over a vehicle for a routine traffic violation. The driver, Victor Harris, had been clocked doing 73 in a 55 miles per hour zone. But instead of pulling over, Harris hit the gas, and what should have been a simple stop turned into a high-octane adrenaline-pumping chase. Harris's vehicle weaved through traffic, sped down the wrong way of a two-lane highway, and even ran red lights. Deputy Scott was hot on his tail, but the chase was proving dangerous, not only to Harris and Scott, but also to unsuspecting motorists. As the minutes ticked by, the urgency to bring the chase to a safe conclusion mounted. In a critical turn of events, Deputy Scott decided to employ a precision immobilization technique, or better known as the pit maneuver. This technique involves the chasing car nudging the rear of the fleeing car, causing it to spin out and ideally come to a stop. It was a risky move, but in the heat of the moment, Scott made the call. As Scott's bumper connected with Harris's vehicle, the outcome was far from the ideal. Harris's car veered off the road, crashed, and flipped over. The crash was severe, resulting in injuries that left Harris quadriplegic. A routine traffic stop had spiraled into a life-altering incident within a matter of minutes. It's important to remember that law enforcement officers like Deputy Scott are often forced to make split-second decisions in high-stress situations. They are tasked with protecting the public and maintaining order, even when the circumstances are far from ordinary. In this case, the deputy made a decision that he believed would end a dangerous high-speed chase and protect innocent bystanders. However, this split-second decision would lead to a landmark legal battle. Victor Harris decided to take his case to the courts, alleging a violation of his Fourth Amendment rights. And so, the wheels of justice began to turn, setting in motion a lawsuit that would resonate far beyond the courtroom walls. Harris argued that Deputy Timothy Scott had used excessive force during their encounter, causing him severe injuries. He claimed that Scott's decision to end the chase by ramming into his vehicle was an unreasonable seizure under the Fourth Amendment. In essence, Harris contended that Scott's actions were far beyond the acceptable boundaries of law enforcement engagement, leading to a catastrophic outcome. The case first landed in the district court, where Harris found a sympathetic ear. The court agreed with Harris, ruling that Scott's actions could indeed be viewed as unreasonable, and thus constituted a violation of Harris's Fourth Amendment rights. The court's decision hinged on the belief that the force used by Scott was excessive and unwarranted given the circumstances. Not satisfied with this outcome, Scott appealed the decision. The case then moved up to the United States Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit. Here again, the court sided with Harris, affirming the district court's ruling. The court held that a reasonable jury could find that Scott's use of force was unreasonable. Scott, however, was not ready to throw in the towel. He believed in the righteousness of his actions and decided to take his case to the highest court of the land, the Supreme Court of the United States. The appeal to the Supreme Court offered a glimmer of hope for Scott. It was a chance to overturn the previous rulings and set a precedent that could potentially impact how law enforcement officers engage with suspects in high-speed chases. The stage was set for a legal showdown in the highest court of the land. The case of Scott v. Harris was about to take a turn that would reverberate through every level of law enforcement and constitutional law. A case that started as a local traffic incident was now poised to make national headlines. In a landmark decision, the Supreme Court overturned the lower court's ruling. With a unanimous vote of 8-0, the highest court in the land sided with Deputy Timothy Scott. The ruling was significant, not just for Scott and Harris, but for law enforcement as a whole. The Supreme Court, in its wisdom, deemed that Scott's actions were reasonable given the circumstances. The justices focused on the threat Harris posed to the public, which was evident from the high-speed chase that reached speeds of up to 90 miles an hour. The court emphasized the danger Harris created, not only for himself, but also for bystanders and other drivers on the road. Critical to the court's decision was the video evidence. Unlike in many cases, the justices had a clear view of what transpired. The video, taken from Scott's patrol car, showed the dangerous maneuvers Harris made during the chase. His reckless driving put the lives of others in jeopardy. The court saw this and concluded that Scott's decision to end the pursuit was not only reasonable, but necessary. The impact of this ruling on law enforcement's use of force cannot be overstated. It gave police officers the legal backing they need when making split-second judgments in high-risk situations. The ruling essentially stated that when the public's safety is at risk, the police have the right to use whatever means necessary to neutralize the threat. This is not a free pass for law enforcement to use excessive force, but rather a recognition of the difficult and often dangerous decisions they must make in the line of duty. In essence, the Supreme Court's decision in Scott v. Harris reaffirmed the delicate balance between individual rights and public safety. It underscored the idea that while every citizen has rights, those rights do not extend to endangering the lives of others. This ruling reaffirmed the need for police officers to make split-second judgments in the line of duty. The Scott v. Harris case has had a profound impact on American law enforcement. This landmark case has since become a touchstone in the discourse on law enforcement and the use of force. As we delve into its aftermath, we see the ripple effect it has had on the practices and principles that guide our officers. In the wake of the decision, law enforcement agencies nationwide found themselves grappling with its implications. The judgment reinforced the principle that an officer's actions are to be judged based on reasonableness at the moment. This meant that officers had to make split-second decisions under circumstances that are tense, uncertain, and rapidly evolving. It was a reaffirmation of the high-stakes nature of law enforcement work and the trust we place in those who undertake it. But the Scott v. Harris case was more than just a legal precedent. It served as a catalyst for change within the law enforcement community. It prompted departments across the country to reassess their protocols and training programs. Officers were encouraged to understand not just the letter of the law, but its spirit, the underlying principles of reasonableness and proportionality that should guide their actions. Furthermore, the case underscored the importance of transparency and accountability in law enforcement. It highlighted the pivotal role that video evidence can play in assessing the reasonableness of an officer's actions. This realization has led to the widespread adoption of body cameras by police departments, fostering greater trust between law enforcement and the communities they serve. The Scott v. Harris case also provided an opportunity for dialogue and education. It served as a lesson for the public about the complexities and challenges of law enforcement work. It reminded us that the officers we entrust with our safety must often make difficult decisions in the blink of an eye, decisions that can have life-altering consequences. In conclusion, the Scott v. Harris case was a seminal moment in American law enforcement. It spurred positive change, reinforced essential principles, and fostered a deeper understanding of the realities of police work. This case serves as a reminder of the challenging decisions law enforcement officers must make every day and the importance of their role in maintaining public safety.